Hello everybody, my name is Mitch and today we are going over Poirier versus McGregor 3, UFC 264. If you're new here, we do go over the picks first and then we'll talk about the reasons why after, so let's go ahead and get started. Ahmadab, Zalgus, Zuma, Omari, Ahmadab, Jennifer Maia, Ryan Hall, Drakus, Plessis, Kevin Lee, Michael Pereira Lima, Max Griffin, Sean O'Malley, Irene Aldana, Tuavasa, Stephen Thompson, and Dustin Poirier. Those are my picks, and I'll talk about the reasons why. Here are those odds for those of you folks that like odds. Alright. Hu Yaozong versus Ahmadab. We are still fading the China fighters for now. You can look in previous videos. I don't remember which one exactly where we mentioned that. But on top of that, if you don't like that reason, we do have 0-2 in the UFC on the other end. We have Ahmadab. He is also only losing in the UFC, although he at least has some Bellator wins, if you respect Bellator, which I know I do. I'm going with Allen. Zalgus, Zuma, Gula versus Jerome, Rivera. Zalgus kind of has a weird fighting style, although he is a scrapper in there, I've got to admit. He hasn't won in the UFC yet, but I feel like I've seen enough from him to convince me that I think he's going to be able to deal with Jerome Rivera. He also has not won in the UFC officially, unless you count the Contender Series, but at any rate, I'm going with Zalgus, Zuma, with this fight. Omari, Ahmadab versus Tavares. It would not be a UFC card in 2021 if there weren't some Russian fighters trying to take you down, fighting out of Dag Fighter. In his last fight, he takes down Tom Breeze in the first round pretty quickly, in the second round pretty quickly, and gets an arm triangle choke. I don't think Tavares is going to be able to fight off all of these takedowns. I see at least 2 rounds going to Omari, Ahmadab. I am going with Omari in this fight. Jennifer Maia versus Jessica I in the UFC. You're as good as your last fight, and I think Jennifer Maia gained a lot of respect from folks when she had a pretty tough bout with Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina's looked utterly dominant against everyone, and Jennifer Maia seemed to almost have the best answer for her, although she still lost the fight. Speaking of Valentina Shevchenko, Jessica I was another opponent she had. Valentina Shevchenko made very quick work out of Jessica I. This was quite a brutal knockout if you have not seen it. We're going with Jennifer Maia in this one. Ryan Hall versus Ilya Topurya. Perhaps I am just being a fan, but I do like Ryan Hall's style and his style in this fight. We see him doing weird evadey kicks, landing pretty well against Elkins, and then going for those classic, I don't want to say it wrong, Imanari rolls. He's going for the legs at any rate. Seems like no one wants to engage with him on the ground. I am excited for this fight because Topurya is also another fighter, very high prospect, and kind of known for his ground game as well. Also known for hitting like a truck, so we'll see how that goes. I kind of like Ryan Hall to evade and kind of minimize the damage that's done here, and weather the storm and maybe just kind of outwork Ilya Topurya. He is 24 years old, so I'm curious what happens when he sees a storm to weather, and I think Ryan Hall can bring it. Most of these fights not getting out of the first round, although he does have a nice unanimous decision win against Youssef Zalal. Very interested to see what happens if this fight hits the ground, but I'm going with Ryan Hall in this one. Trevin Giles versus Drakus Plessis. On Trevin Giles' side, we have a very close win versus Roman Dolidze. He's coming off of a 3-fight win streak. Always an exciting fighter. On the other hand, we have Drakus Plessis. He's got 1 win in the UFC. He showed very good leg kicks, heavy hands, a pretty high pace. So I'm interested to see if that was going to, hold through to 3 rounds. But I feel like he's ready to bring the pace here. His fights, never go to a decision or the judges at all. So sure to be exciting. I'm going with Drakus Plessis. I liked his pace, and he appears to land often. Brady versus Kevin Lee. What an exciting fight here. We have Sean Brady. For me, the thing with Sean Brady, he's looking like a very good prospect. The thing I can't look past is Jake Matthews' fight. Jake Matthews rocked him a few times in it. I'm just not sure how good Sean Brady's stand-up is completely. On the other hand, we have Kevin Lee. I know that if you slip up against Kevin Lee, he can knock you out. Perhaps this head kick was just flashy and I'm remembering it. Maybe I need to just pay attention to his record. He's 4-6 in, or 2-4 in his last 6 is what I'm trying to say. But all high level competition. Curious how this is going to go. Sean Brady isn't quite the name that Kevin Lee is used to fighting. Kevin Lee is moving up a weight class for this one. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited to see how Sean Brady deals with Kevin's stand-up, and if this does go to the ground, who takes it there, who controls, things like that. I'm going with Kevin Lee. Nico Price versus Michael Pereira Lima. Nico Price is always in some crazy wars, which leads to some mixed results. You know, there's some highs and lows in his career in terms of winning and losing fights, but they're always exciting. With that being said, I think Michael Pereira is going to be able to land with his weird stand-up. I just feel like he tends to be a little more consistent. I think I see him landing. I see this being a crazy fight with Michael Pereira doing a little more damage as it goes. I'm going with Michael Pereira. Carlos Condit versus Max Griffin. I think when I went through the picks, I did have it on Max Griffin. I apologize for that, but that was supposed to be Carlos Condit. At any rate, Carlos Condit, I feel like he's looked a little better as of late. Max Griffin, I've never thought looked that good, and his record kind of speaks for that. Seems to lose fights that I thought he was going to win. Maybe I feel like I've just been let down by Max Griffin in the past, but I'm going with Carlos Condit. Sean O'Malley versus Louis Smolka. Sean O'Malley appears to have much better stand-up, quicker and more power. Probably the bigger man in there as well. He has a 4-inch reach. Louis Smolka, always a game opponent. You know, he's young. We'll see if he tries to take Sean O'Malley down or what his strategy is, but I'm assuming it is not to stand up with him. We'll see how this one goes. I see Sean O'Malley getting the finish. Irene Aldana versus Jana Nitzkaya. For Irene Aldana, she's coming off of a loss to Holly Holm. Although she does have some good wins and some good stand-up, she gets some finish against this win against Caitlin Vieira. For Jana Kunitskaya, in her recent bout, she shows that she looks very physical and calm in there. Ultimately, I am worried about how the stand-up is going to go for her. I'm going with Irene Aldana. Tuavasa versus Greg Hardy. I feel like either someone's going to get knocked out in the first round, or they're both going to get really tired and just kind of drag this out to the 3 rounds. At any rate, I like Tuavasa a little better in either scenario. I think he is, maybe more likely to land here, but definitely more likely to have cardio if it goes the 3 rounds. I just keep thinking about Greg Hardy when he needed his inhaler and brought it into the fight, and I'm just wondering if that's going to affect things. Tuavasa, I am going with him to either land or kind of weather the storm and be a little less tired toward the end, 2nd and 3rd rounds. Gilbert Burns versus Wonderboy. For Gilbert Burns' side of things, we see that he loses to the champion Kamaru Usman. Before that, he comes off of a win against Tyron Woodley and Damian Maia. These were both very good wins. On the other hand, we have Stephen Thompson losing to Pettis, Darren Till, and Tyron Woodley. For his loss to Darren Till, I feel like he kind of got outsized. I don't think that Burns is going to be able to replicate that. And against Anthony Pettis, he just kind of got knocked out. That was a crazy fight, and I don't think Gilbert Burns is going to be able to knock him out the way Anthony Pettis was either. For these reasons, I am going with Stephen Thompson. I do feel like he still is a tough puzzle to solve in there. I think his stand-up is going to cause a lot of problems for Gilbert Burns. I'm going with Stephen Thompson. For the main event, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, I'm going with Dustin Poirier. I went and essentially just watched that last fight again and things I noticed is I feel like Dustin kind of did everything better. He dealt with leg kicks better. He gave leg kicks better. He got a takedown. Conor didn't go for one, but I assume Dustin's takedown defense would have been better. Conor might have even landed harder, but I think Dustin's chin even showed up more than Conor's. I do think Dustin might have taken the harder shots, but, you know, didn't get knocked down from any of them, and it seemed to show better cardio toward the end too, if you attribute getting tired to McGregor's knockdown. I do like McGregor's chances in this fight, but ultimately I think that Dustin just kind of looked like the better fighter in there. I'm curious how this one's going to go, but I am going with Dustin to win the trilogy. I do think Conor needs to get him out of there. I don't think he can win 3 out of the 5 rounds against Dustin. Hey, thanks everyone for watching this video. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. If you liked it, feel free to leave that thumbs up. 5.5% of you guys are subscribed that watch the videos. I would appreciate it a bunch if the 94.5% of you guys watching could consider hitting that subscribe button. That is the most helpful thing you can do for me. But anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I will see you guys Saturday. I'm excited for this card, the main event, all of it. Peace.